languages that we are comfortable with. I'll start from here.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mbale City. I'm a businesswoman in Mbale town.
Susan Namale.
Mbale Smile.
Namale Smile. Okay.
My name is Mbale Beatrice. I'm a businessman in Mbale town.
Beatrice.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Mbale Halima. I'm a businesswoman in Mbale town.
Morning. I'm called Priscilla Shadia. I'm a businesswoman in Mbale town.
Shadia.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Salim from Uganda Developmental Partnerships.
Thank you, Salim.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jennifer Nanikesa. I'm a youth leader of SOMA.
Thank you, Nekesa. Thank you.
Isibati lefere kwesha leo banaimba papa msoni mwenayo sisi kama sinakashe ndima bonga go different ndinagaroni when we have a server the organization so you must welcome.
I'm Mokusolo Alex. I also come from Mbale Masaba, Chairman Governing Board.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, I'm Yusuf Mako. I work in human rights CCL Concert Radio and within fiscally and the promotion and protection of human rights there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ndebaziza nnyo tulambanga ntibazaata nebakanyala nga wamu mpitwa amapabeada mu industrial border Mbale City.
Welcome.
I salute you all, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Olik Sambira Hoseifa and General Secretary Boda Mbale City.
Welcome.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning, members. My name is Makumba Barak, Youth Leader from Structure as well as Media Personality.
Welcome.
Good morning, all. I'm Sam Murundi, Youth Chairman Order.
Welcome.
Good morning, members. White Nassau is my name. I'm a councillor from Northern East Division, at the same time the Deputy of Northern East Division.
Welcome.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming. I'm Temi Shelwa, Councillor Northern Division.
I'm Seth Robert, Councillor Northern Division. I salute you all, and my name is Reverend Moses Moholi, representing the Diocesan Secretary in Mbale Diocese. I'm glad to be here.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tabitha Joeli, and I'm a head teacher in Mutaleja district. I've come here to represent the people of Mutaleja.
You're welcome.
Praise the living God. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Proscovia Sarah Nachiyimba, representing women in business in Mbale Central Market.
Yeah. Welcome, Sarah.
Morning, brothers and sisters.
Morning.
Sylvester Mweru. I'm representing a sorry community in Uganda Parish.
Welcome. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Moya Christine. I'm a councillor representing the PW's Industrial City Division. You're most welcome.
Welcome.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Morning, ladies and gentlemen.
My name is Mbale City, Information Research Mbale Central Market. Thank you very much for coming.
Gentlemen, protocol observed. I'm Mbale, the Deputy Mayor, Industrial State Division. Thank you.
Welcome, my lord. Welcome. Thank you very much.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Kauka Musa, Secretary of Education and Health, Industrial State Division. You're most welcome.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Paul Bomateke, Treasurer Board.
Thank you very much. Quite an interesting representation that we have today. Almost all sectors are well represented. We're going to have, the conversation is on around reclaiming civic space for self-led influencing in our spaces, in our areas where we operate on a daily.
Thank you for the organizers. And Lord, as we come to participate, we are eager to hear and learn from the members who targeted all the multi-sectoral representation. We pray that at the end of everything, there be results for all of us. We pray all this in your mighty name. Amen.
Thank you very much. That we have a team from the cultural leadership and also from the political leadership. I think it would also be important that we at least have how is the anthem of this region called? Wamasab or something? Yes? Is it okay? Is it in order that we have it? Can we have someone lead us through that? We need to respect this, especially that we're talking issues governance.
Thank you. I think all of us
And possibly from our councillors, we could have a national anthem. Yeah. We need to invoke this spirit on all sides.
United, free for liberty, together we always stand.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, that you realize we are all working people, we are all adults in here. So when you're going to respect the views of every person in here, we need to agree and disagree like the adults do, yeah, respectfully. And we need to make sure that we have as the best of the conversation that allows us to learn from each other. In case you have anything you need to pass over, you raise your hand. If you need to inform, you need to raise at least your hand, and the microphone will be sent to you. But also, we try as much as possible to minimize movement. We try as much as possible to have our phones in vibration or silence, so so that we are not interrupted in any way. And also, we need to make sure that while you're here, we give it our best. Let us learn from each other, and also as we learn from you. And maybe I'll need to pick like 5 expectations of our conversation today. While you came here, while the invitation was sent to you, you must have had something that ran into your mind of what I would call the expectation. I'm coming here, they have been invited for this conversation, but I hope this and this will be achieved. I hope this and this should be what I expect. I hope this and this is what I'm going to receive on such a day. You can just raise up your hand. I need to take about only 5 hands, then from there we can go on. 5 hands, okay.
When I received the call about this workshop, I had shared a bit with Simon about the issues of human rights. And so when I came this morning with my people, we were thinking about learning about our rights as the leaders of our people in our community, our responsibilities and roles as well as enforcing this lifestyle, and also the duties and responsibilities of our communities also. And also, if we can access some materials, working materials, that we can also go up there and teach our people. My expectations. Thank you.
Once again, what you see, my expectations may be more than the 5, but I will be so free from what I know about the state of opposition or government. I think I have attended some workshops before over the opposition governments before. One was at Shainon at one time, another one was at Eastern Place, if I remember very well. But in that course, there was a lot that we enjoyed. The fun thing that always, the facilitators are always well equipped with the knowledge that they give to people called upon. So that is one of the expectations that the same that is going to happen today should have more than it has been already.
Thank you very much. My name is Mbale. One of my expectations is I'm expecting to learn about constitutional rights, and most especially not only in leadership structure but also in the fields like business and also in media organizations. Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I'm called Isandra Huzaifa. My expectation is that to know more from others.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. One of my expectations as a country transition is that I want us to strengthen the partnership between the country system and Center for Constitutional Governance. Then two, I also want to know as a country system the roles that we are supposed to play in accordance with the objectives of the Center for Constitutional Governance. Thank you.
Good morning once again. My name is Mbale City. My expectation is to understand more about community engagements as far as languages are concerned.
Okay. Any more expectations? Think of, okay.
Thank you, brother. My expectation, me being today is my first time to attend this workshop, but I'm glad that the organizers who have sort of the charge to be part of this organization. I'm glad that I expect to learn more. How can we combine the region in this movement? So I want to learn more from our facilitators. Thank you.
Thank you. My expectation was to learn more about roles of religious leaders in promoting rights in our society, because religious leaders are a voice and are key stakeholders meeting very many vulnerable groups of people. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mbale. What I expect from this training, me being the head teacher, this workshop will help me to identify the roles of the parents, the roles of the teachers, and the roles of the pupils. And by the end of this workshop, I will have also got new friends, maybe from Utah. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I see we're having it right now. And the new entrants that have just come in, I will also have the opportunity to have them introduce themselves. Let me have two here, then the introductions.
Thank you very much. Why we have difficulties here, I expect to learn and get more skills so that when I go back, I can also educate my people who are behind about what we have learned from here. And also creating friendship, because we have not come from same places. So at least by the end of the day, we shall have created a friendship from here.
Thank you very much. My name is Mbale. My expression is we as the leaders in the market and the vendors in the market. My expression, I want to know our rights as leaders, as business people. We know how business can move, and when somebody has maybe undermined us, how well can I go and get our rights as leaders or vendors? Secondly, I want to learn more about my situation. I want to learn more about good governance. How can good governance be? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, introduction. I think you also had to introduce yourself.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. I'm Mbale, a senior citizen. In fact, I'm happy that you have invited me. I've even seen new friends. I've seen new friends. And the only ones I had before. And I thank you for this workshop. Then what I expect, being an old man, what are my rights? What should I do in society? I think that will be enough for me.
So let's have the introduction there.
Good morning. Mbale City from Mbale Central Market. I'm very happy to be here, and I want to learn more about constitution.
Thank you, thank you.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi.
Wa alaikum salam.
My name is I'm a counselor from Minnesota Division. I expect more skill from here, and then I go and give it back to my people.
Thank you. Who are they to introduce themselves? I think here.
I'm called Moses Makombe. I'm a council and industrial division of the city. I represent our central ward. Thank you.
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm called Masera Juma Fabrice, my motorcycle operator at Red Other Station.
Tracy, then
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Paul, Superintendent of Police, Mbale City, DPC, CGS Mbale. I'm glad to be here with you this morning. Thank you.
thank you very much, Afande, for sparing your time to join us. Who else has enjoyed the register?
Yes, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Badruddin Mahmoud Mirza, Speaker Mbale Municipal Operator of the Lloyd Association. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone, for having us those expectations that we have today, and also for sparing your time. I would want to now give the opportunity to our Executive Director, Sarah Mbale, to take us through. She will introduce herself, but also take through the other session.
Superintendent of Police Mbale, the church leaders, the cultural leaders, youth, women leaders, private sector, including border and market leaders, ladies and gentlemen in your respective capacities. I will get to know more details as I listen in. Good morning to you all.
Good morning, madam.
I'm called Sarah Mbale, the Executive Director of Center for Constitutional Governance. Some of you could have seen his face on TV, and you'll be seen behind the headlines where we partner with the National Broadcast on Governance. I'm a regular panelist there every Wednesday. Yeah, so that briefly explains the work we do. We are a constitutional watchdog. It means, that simply means that we do work in promotion, implementation, and sensitization about the Constitution. We do work on human rights. We do work on how Parliament works to implement the wishes of the people. We do work on how you as the leaders in the room work to make sure that your actions are derived from the concerns that the people you lead face. And that's one of the reasons we are here. We do work with police. If some of you have watched Civic Space TV, our own TV, we have a digital TV, fully licensed by UCC, called Civic Space TV. Some of you in your free time, you would check it out on YouTube and maybe follow, because even this program will be uploaded there, so that the people who are not here are able to see what we have discussed. And all the project programs, as I will introduce, will be uploaded on that TV, so that we are able to communicate to people beyond this room, or even those that we shall be meeting over the 2 years of this project implementation. So we normally have the Deputy Spokesperson of Police for Kampala Metropolitan, Owe Sigire, is normally part of our regular panelists on that TV. We have party representation, and one of our permanent panelists also is the Director at NRM Secretariat. But that does not mean we exclude other parties, because we are in a multi-party dispensation. And as an NGO, we work with everybody. Our political views, personal political views, not with the standing. So normally in some areas, because we discuss politics, in some areas we are branded opposition. Not that there is any law that stops us from associating with any party, but because of the current political context we are in as a country, we do not prophesy, or even, personally I don't hold any party card, but we do not publicly associate with any political party, so that we are able to do our work as non-governmental organizations. But I have marked that there is no law that stops NGO leaders from belonging to Mbale property. But we do not, because we don't want to be misunderstood. And that's why I've tried to wear a multicolored dress today. So that none of you looks at me with any political eyes. So I hope that has been sorted. That normally it is an issue when we are, so we need to introduce ourselves in a clear manner, because this project will be permanent. Tentatively it is 2 years, but it will remain. So it's not that we are coming here and we are visitors. You better give us some accommodation around. We have an office, we have established an office. Simon, briefly, can you introduce yourself and the contact office where it is as we begin? Please observe the COVID rules. COVID is still with us.
Yes, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, I'm Simon Tito Kadapao. And most of you, my face is not new. I've interacted with most of you here. My office is inside Tasso, building. And that's where my office is. So whenever there's an issue to be handled, kindly just come inside Tasso. Probably most of you know where Tasso is. Tasso Mbale. Okay, thank you.
And your telephone number?
Then my telephone number is 0783 5038 0783 5038 81. And I'm a project officer for this activity here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Simon. So, Ghana's pretender to police, you better give us some. we are not visitors anymore. Yeah, thank you very much. So, briefly, the project that we shall be implementing is called Reclaiming Civic Space through Self-Led Influencing in New Cities. Reclaiming civic space through self-led influencing in new cities. And Mbale is our pilot. So currently, this is the only way we've started with Mbale in the whole country. We hope that with time, we shall expand to the other new cities that have already been operationalized. Ginger will be operationalized in July. No, Entebbe. Entebbe will be operationalized this year in July. And then Ginger next financial year. And the government has so far put a moratorium or a stop on the creation of new cities. Maybe first study how they, are they a total of 8? Because 5 are operational. And then 1 this financial year and another one next financial year. So those are 7. So government has put a stop now on the creation of cities to see how you people march. And the reason that brings us here is that new cities come with new opportunities, but also new challenges. And I'm sure you'll be sharing with us, because you are the people on the ground, how you are so far taking your baby steps. Of course, the towns that were selected, or districts, to be cities, most of them had attained middle income status. I know Mbale is not among the middle income status districts or cities now in Uganda. We have a total of 7 districts that have so far attained middle income status. That is Kampala, Wakiso, Mpigi, Masaka, Mbarara, Jinja. How many have I mentioned? Kampala, Wakiso, Mukono, Mpigi, Jinja, Masaka, and Mbarara. Those are the only districts that have attained middle income status in Uganda. So as you see, as much as you have a stay, you need to catch up with Mbarara, Wakiso, Masaka, Mpiji, those ones, Ginger, those ones are income status. Mukono was already had, I think. Does it have status? No, it doesn't have, but it's ahead of in terms of income. So that's already a challenge where you need to move if you are to be at the same level with other cities. What does it mean in terms of Mbale, which has not yet attained middle income status, and why? That's one outright challenge. So the objective of this project is to create avenues or platforms for capacity building, to amplify voices of local and marginalized groups, for mindset change to influence their governance. So part of the discussions, or the focus of our discussions, will include the economic that I've mentioned. If you are in a meeting of urban cities in Uganda, what issues should you front as leaders of Mbale City? How can you, for example, push to make sure that by next year or 2 years, you attain middle income status? Because that means more revenue generation at the state level, but also improve the livelihoods of the people that you lead. So that comes also with the challenges of social. Middle income status is not just a money in your pocket issue. It means improve the livelihoods of the people. So what is the social status? Where I move first, please let me know. And if you need translation, Simon, our program officer, is here. Is fluent in all local languages. Maybe Simon, you should take note, and when I finish, you summarize, so that we don't leave anyone behind. You remember under the Local Government Act, which we are operating under here, allows proceedings in all languages. Yeah, and we are mindful of that. I signed the Secretary of Cultural Affairs. Okay, so let me, how do we do it? I finish the introduction and then you come in? Secretary will help us translate in English and then later. Maybe you can give a brief now.
Wanjara. It's the very Kulibakasa. I'd say Habili Gakuluku Yagulano, Gakuluku, Wurakabasina Kefe. Ugulire, Mundu, Naponanga, Valabamania, Suwanga. Kainamania, Divisi, Regular Kitalibuka, President the case. Newebuka, Kene Mabileza, Makubanga, Mapakansa, Kumukuru, Aliwaka Kubonari, the finger every year, Gono Masaba, Gonu Chindra, in programs of the Amokaniko, Kubonari, Video Mabina Labisi, Gomenti, Yario, Kuboleri, the village of Kuboleri, Biswatwa. The movie in Gabio, Amokaniko, Gambari, Square, Silver Square, Wakania Kubi Banga today, Wakania Kubi Banga, Wakison in Parara, Masaka, and India, Garumari, you will be Rimba. Ebyamba bimbalira kufunako okwirenga kale nga kuboneeri binyala okuyimisawo mu ngeri ikalingirata nalunali iribali nga birimba bino biyimisirewo biri ku mapeesa ta nebiriwo embeera yesi bikyenderamu esobolerewo ekituufu abantu bano nga wabatsiireyo obonera bali babantu banyala kukola kina okwirenga kale oba kuyitere kubakolekeza bamanyire kale nebalumali birimba bino nga libitsa biritsiramu birayi bibamo yamoni ibi byanga bikali bitwera ta Chirobonori kusanyuka nikola umbakalire byakwamba kali kwakubona kuri nga kulubyakalira kwakubyakalira bubulayi nendi kwirawo kwakometoti kwabona bilayi nebibi bibinyala kubona biri akuyeta ne kintu kikulu nibasa nga lituli lizirana kubona biri likulengera kubona mu ngeri ekinyala kwabona kuri Facebook atwera n'okunyereza kubona kuri kwambamo ufune esalangira nimiro nkamu status nalanga kintu kasemba wanyamani.
Thank you very much, our Secretary for Culture Affairs. So among the activities that we shall undertake is a capacity building trainings, like the one we have started with. We shall also have strategic engagements between rights holders and duty bearers. This means that these are meetings between the people and the elected leadership on the needs of the people, specific challenges that should be addressed, and how they should be addressed. We shall also have activities to do with amplifying voices through Civic Space TV and radio drama series, including the strategic engagements in the media. This specific activity for media is created because there are issues that you cannot address alone at the level of Mbale City. There are issues that you need to connect with the national. For example, increased budget allocations, for example, implementation of some specific projects that are controlled by the central government. Are we together? If I can have an interaction on that, because there could be something else that you think would help more in terms of the aim that I've already said. If I may repeat so that we can pick, because I don't want to stand here as if I am in a lecture room. This is a leadership open participatory forum. So the activities we have, one is capacity building, and we shall keep doing this, because the next session will be specific on the training, on the roles and responsibilities of leaders, as well as those of the people that elected you or that you represent, in examples of the church, the cultural institutions, and other leaders that are not necessarily elected through open elections. Then we shall have strategic engagements. If we have, for example, an issue that concerns taxation or health, delivery of health services, then we shall call for specific meetings that involve the district health officer, maybe representative of Ministry of Health, maybe representative of finance, if it involves the budget allocation beyond the state coffers or state budget. If it's a matter that involves education, then we shall have stakeholders in the education sector together with city representatives in education and national where necessary. Are we together? If it's a matter that needs advocacy, for example, issues of climate change and the environment might go beyond the state. You might need implementation of the Climate Act that has just been passed and not yet implemented. You might need to connect with international forums on climate change. Then we look for which partner is concerned on that issue. Are we together? So that's how the project will move, that's how it is meant to work. If it is a security matter, you might find that maybe our colleagues at the Mbale Central Police Station need the intervention of the likes of AIG Piasan Kasinja and others that we work with closely in police. So that's how the project is framed. If there are any comments or additions that you wish to share with us, you can let us know. Then beyond that, because we want to take the conversations beyond the room, we shall have engagements on TV, including the drama series. Drama series are impactful in terms of my mindset change for the people. Because at times as leaders, you might have something you want to do, and our Lord Mayor might guide us on this. You might have something that you want to do that you think is good for the people, and then it faces rejection at the levels of implementation. Are we together? So those are the interventions that this project will be working on. The expected outcome is that we shall have a more developed city that focuses on the wishes, values, and aspirations of the people, and the people have a voice to advocate for their rights and wishes on how they want to be led. So that is the outcome, or the result that we hope this project can deliver. That the leaders are able and are enabled and facilitated to serve their people, but also the people have an ability to inform their leaders of what the problems are facing or what they want their leaders to do in terms of policy and actions.
Wanyala. Wanyala naye executive director. Bikali yitakirenga yakanika. Na makuru mali bikira ko milimo kiza ko bona bali bakana ko kolanga ituli ya Center for Governance. Bakana ko bona bali bakana ko kurana kamani mu kusomesa capacity building, mu kusomesa bantu banyereze kumanya rights sawa bamanye shina sisi ngomurangirisi ajyakire kukola ni nawe n'umuntu we hasi we nyumayoyo na ifulaziza wewe ibufana brain ari warumari bakana ukongera kuri dogozi nadiranga barambisa Stefani wa TV inabayo radio ni bibi kubona bari batabisisa program so kubana beyasiyo wira warumari kene leo bakuingeji ngabo bantu mu bintu bikali bitu yataradanga bekurangirisi bari mu kokoko bari bijasiridazi bekimyoyo ni bakati kubona bari ibaho ingeri yesi kubona kuri bitendera twera na dalaba bakokoko mu budget zawe banyeze kubona bari bapangira biri babyawe kubona biri yora kunkurakurana kale.
There are issues that you need to connect with the national. For example, increased budget allocations. For example, implementation of some specific projects that are controlled by the central government. Are we together? If I can have an interaction on that, because there could be something else that you think would help more in terms of the aim that I've already said. If I may repeat so that we can pick, because I don't want to stand here as if I am in a lecture room. This is a leadership but open participatory forum. So the activities we have, one is capacity building, and we shall keep doing this, because the next session will be specific on the training, on the roles and responsibilities of leaders, as well as those of the people that elected you or that you represent, in examples of the church, the cultural institutions, and other leaders that are not necessarily elected through open elections. Then we shall have strategic engagements. If we have, for example, an issue that concerns taxation or health, delivery of health services. Then we shall call for specific meetings that involve the district health officer, maybe a representative of Ministry of Health, maybe a representative of Finance, if it involves the budget allocation beyond the state coffers or state budget. If it's a matter that involves education, then we shall have stakeholders in the education sector together with state representatives in education and national where necessary. Are we together? If it's a matter that needs advocacy, for example, issues of climate change and the environment might go beyond the state. You might need implementation of the Climate Act that has just been passed and not yet implemented. You might need to connect with international forums on climate change. Then we look for which partner is concerned on that issue. Are we together? So that's how the project will move, that's how it is meant to work. If it is a security matter, you might find that maybe our colleagues at the Mbale Central Police Station need the intervention of the likes of AIG Piasan Kasinja and others that we work with closely in police. So that's how the project is framed. If there are any comments or additions that you wish to share with us, you can let us know. Then beyond that, because we want to take the conversations beyond the room, we shall have engagements on TV, including the drama series. Drama series are impactful in terms of my mindset change for the people. Because at times as leaders, you might have something you want to do, and our Lord Deputy Lord Mayor might guide us on this. You might have something that you want to do that you think is good for the people, and then it faces rejection at the levels of implementation. Are we together? So those are the interventions that this project will be working on. The expected outcome is that we shall have a more developed city that focuses on the wishes, values, and aspirations of the people, and the people have a voice to advocate for their rights and wishes on how they want to be led. So that is the outcome, or the result that we hope this project can deliver. That the leaders are able and are enabled and facilitated to serve their people, but also the people have an ability to inform their leaders of what the problems are facing or what they want their leaders to do in terms of policy and actions. So we have drafted, I had two participants who said they have previously interacted with the Center for Constitutional Governance. And yes, we have been here twice, one on the functioning of the multipartyism in Uganda, and a project that we ran through this district, and the second, three projects in Mbale. The second was training on constitutionalism, and it is a handbook that we could maybe avail through our offices on basic understanding of the Constitution. And the third project that we have previously run in Mbale district was with the institutions of higher learning, including the Islamic University in Uganda, including there was a Makerere branch. Yes, MOBS branch, but also there's an international, there's the Africa Indigenous something University of the late Mbale. Professor Nabdele, and the health nursing institution. Yes. That project in universities is still running. We have been running it on the TV, but because it was affected by COVID. So we have been running it online, but now that there is a bit of slowdown on the infections, we shall be back, not only for this project, but also for the project on universities, as well as general constitutional issues. So in your comments and feedback, feel free to ask us on all these programs, because they also affect you as leaders, whether you are hearing them for the first time or not. Specifically for preparation on this, for further preparation on this, we have designed a simple, quick survey on citizens' needs for self-led influencing with their leaders. Under this category, we have one section is what are service delivery needs of the people. This is in the area of water and sanitation, as health, education, waste management, housing. These are the common challenges with all urban cities. And maybe I should have mentioned that we have a partnership with the New York Urban Cities program that we also hope to bring down in Mbale under this project. What are the political needs of the people? Under political, we are saying we are concerned with, are you being consulted during the decision-making processes? Like, is there a bottom-up approach, the way leaders take their decisions on what to implement or what policy changes to make for the city? What are the specific challenges that each sector faces? I know that, for example, the youth leadership have specific needs, political. The market vendors have their own needs. We see in Kampala the issue of vendors, it is a high political issue. We see the people of market space. I know you have a very beautiful market in the central market. I've visited it all the time. I'm in Mbale. But does every market person fit in that central district? Especially now that you are a state central market, or Madam Lord Mayor, you need to construct another market. Because I know that also towards, as you leave Kampala, there are people there in the open market, on the road normally when we are going back to Kampala. So how do you get everybody to work under an organized market setup as a city? Because as a city, you are not going to operate the way you have been operating. Previously, Mbale used to be known as the cleanest state in Uganda until Fort Portal overtook you. Fort Portal, which is now known as a tourism city. So what went wrong? And what did you need to do to retain that status that you already had? We have what are the security needs for your sector. Normally, of course, previously, like borders had an issue of curfew where they were excluded. The economy was open except for borders. When we go to the universities, Makerere University has an issue. All universities are open except Makerere, the biggest university that has remained under lockdown. Because the leadership is benefiting from lockdown and online teaching where they don't pay transport allowances for lecturers. And there was recently a strike. What are the economic needs? We need there to discuss the issues of taxes. What are the current taxes for the city? What are the taxes that you want to introduce? Are they acceptable for the people? We know the 4 canons of taxation. One of them is acceptability. Another one is ability to collect the kind of tax that you are levying on people. I'm sure when you are watching news in Kampala, you see the conduct of KCC, bundling the vendors, shooting some of them, vendors fighting back, also killing the tax enforcement, which is very negative. So how will you act differently as Mbale City in terms of tax enforcement? Do you need to levy direct or indirect taxes? Because we know under taxation, the issue of is or ability to collect the tax that you levy is very important among the canons of taxation. So is the tax acceptable to the people? Is it affordable? Is it correct? Or you are also going to bring the violence of Kampala and start shooting people in Mbale? Are we together? What are the regulatory needs of your sector? And this information is very important for our leadership, Madam Road Mayor and her team. So, any questions or comments? Yes, please.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Madam
Sarah.
Sarah. I think it's not the first time that we're interacting. Vividly, I think I recall what you said, some other activities that brought in the region way back. I think that was the run-up to the 2016 elections.
Yes, yeah, elections training.
Yes, understanding my parties. And I think the problem, thinking on that, is that as we move to the Mbale now city, we are trying to grapple with issues of service delivery, improvement in the income that we are talking of there. The problem is that there's deeply a misunderstanding or not understanding completely on issues of parties. Understand? And that's where the problem is. And even now, government has made good programs, including that one of the parish development model. But it's bound to be abused. Why? Is that they've tied it also to partism type of stand, where we have a representative on it in the formulation from a party, a single party. Because now it's recurring that we have, it would be a good idea because it's in the ruling government, NRM, but an NRM representative on the committee that formulates is bound to be abused in a way, and people have it in a negative way because they don't understand multipartism. They say this has come, it is an NRM model, it has come to benefit or reward the voters. And that's where the problems come. And I find that the participation is not good as a result of that. Issues of accountability coming, and we have had in some scenarios, in instances where it is when such processes are used, person will tell you that, but you see, cadres take time to learn. And so that you find that they don't easily hold one accountable because he's still learning as a cadre. So there are that kind of things a problem. I would interest Center for Constitutional Governance on that particular sector, because why we have come here is that I've seen people have grown from a very critical sector, multi-sectoral approach that you have used this time. Not with those people who have a bit of understanding of multi-parties who we have brought here, but at least people who matter and who where it hints most. But I think is that now this discussion should be deepened. From this level, it goes to the sub-county, to the divisions, to the parishes, and then to the villages, such that people get to understand. Once they understand the participation and the own issues of multipartism, the governance is there that will, I think, deliver and improve service delivery. And I think it will go well. That's my take. And finally, probably, I simply thank the translators doing a good job. Thank you so much.
As you say that in Mbale, we haven't reached the middle income status. Surely, we as leaders of Mbale City, or the whole of Uganda or Eastern, I'll beg that surely we still have a long way to move, but I'll beg that we move as a team for the betterment of Mbale. I wanted to inquire from you. As you say, we haven't reached the middle income status. You said you are having good relationship with, is it United Kingdom? New York City.
Yeah.
So surely, Madam Sarah and the team, I wanted to inquire, how best can Mbale City tap into the opportunities of New York City, so that we can also liberate our lost glory of Mbale City, and also we reach middle income status.
Disability is not inhabited, whereby abantu bange beekulembera abalema mu kibuga kyaffe wano. We are so many, madam, we are very many. And a number is bungi. These people are on the streets all the time, begging. Kati ngaffe abakulembeze baabwe sometimes tulaba nti kifuuse. Kati abantu bano, omuntu ayinza okuba n'obusobozi asobola maybe okukolako akantu akatono naye nga tewali oluusi gyakolera, and sometimes oluusi n'atya okuyingira mu katale lwa misolo, kwegamba ye kati he or she ends up by sitting on the street and begging. Kakati ffe kituleetera obuzibu ngaffe their leaders, and for them most of the time they expect us to give them money, whereby we don't have money. For them they think that as you are elected, you are going to fight all their problems. Olaba omuntu afiiriddwa maybe eggulu eyo agamba kansala omulambo oguli wano biki, ate naffe tetwesobola. It doesn't mean that as we were elected anga buli kimu tukikola tetusobola. Kakati I was of the view that Madam Lelo, I'm very grateful that we are here. We can even raise our problems, and maybe you carry them, you take them where you have come from. I was of the view that singa mubadde mutuyamba nemo you allocate for us, kwegamba akatundu nako akakungaana abalema ne mugamba nti no abalema wadde tubanoonyeza obubiina obwo, they get these small loans, they do something so that they can also cater for themselves. Naye singa mutu allocatingako akafa akatono ne tugamba akafa kaffe kano tukungaaniremu abalema, and we see those ones who don't want to work, because disability is not inability. We must all work. They must not depend on begging on the streets all the time. Kati nga bwe batulonda oyita ku street wano ono waali, olina katono owoono oli naye waali, the whole town they are there. So singa tubeera n'akafa akatono abantu bano ne bakola obuntu bwabwe oba okutunga oba okutunda buki oba butonotono, buli omu n'abeerako n'ekikumi kyafuna, awo kijja kubanga kituyambye era kiyambye abalema bonna. But there are many, we are many, my clan, we are so many. We need at least look into us, you allocate us maybe a small land or a plot or where, so that tubakunganire mu kifo kimu instead of begging all the time. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, Madam. Executive Director, Madam Sarah. All protocols observed. My name is again, I'm both General Police Mbale City. I want to take this opportunity to thank you for giving me this platform. We are all Ugandans, and each and everyone who is here has a role to play as per the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda. Me as a police, I'm also embedded in the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda in Article 212. So I have a role to play. So I have some few areas I just need to highlight about concerning the issues of security vis-a-vis economic development. Police protect life and property. For any country to develop, security is paramount for economic growth. So where are these challenges? Before I go challenges, when you look at new cities like Mbale, we are in Mbale. We have raised so many issues. They are pertinent issues. So I just want to be direct to points of threats of insecurity in some of those installations we have. We've talked about market. Yeah, we have the central market there. But we have left other things on the side of the security. Me personally, we had issues with that market, central market. Last week we were there. Most of these issues which are raised, I attended some of those meetings. But when you look at, people talk about allocation of lockups. Now, on the issue of mainly firefighting, rescue, and the counter access routes, and you find in that market, there are rooms which are located to control the fire in the main market. Now you find those rooms are being allocated as lockups to other people, and yet they are made for access to control fire. So that is a bit sensitive because any outbreak of fire may be in that central market. How will security, police reach there with the firefighting equipment to switch off from the main? So I would just urge the leaders of the management of that market, we should not take it for granted that we were there, we want them, and we are coming back to review whether they have really taken it up on issues of the security of everyone in that market. I like the administration of that market. They have even radio. When you want to communicate, because the market is big, you have to enter just communicate to people from a radio station. So the issue of security, let's take it serious. Then, no access controls, like we have the market, we can't know where the trucks stop from, where it is vending out, because somebody said there are many open places inside. Why are those people out? Then what is the management doing? Because when you look at security, terror threats, they always target. If you have at least countermeasures in some of those big gathering places, it can be easily. We have a police there, though it is meager. But with the management and administration of the market, we need to step up that. Coupled with that, we also street vending. We have issues. Madam Sarah talked about fighting street vending, collection of taxes, and there should be guidance. So it is here with us, we know. So what are we going to do on the issues of street vending? Because when you look at in the evening, Tororo Road, Kumi Road, people all come on the road to vend. So in the evening, trucks, taxis, they park, even buses. So what are we supposed to do as the city authorities? You are not supposed to leave it police alone. Because when you leave it police alone, there will be a divergence and they will say the police is doing this. Because this is our city. I raised that issue to the city clerk and also the management of the streets. They have tendered it out. We need to enforce some of those illegalities to make our streets, because you look at the vendors on the streets, very early in the morning you find heaps of cameras everywhere. So they do their business and they go. So you can't tell who is supposed to clean where. But when we put those countermeasures, it will help. And then again, when you look at the issue of street kids, I just want to highlight that because partly we handle it. When we get this, these are children who are in conflict with the law and they are vulnerable. Of course, when we get them from the streets, we don't put them in the cells. We try to get details from them. Much as you say others come from the nation, most of them, they don't come from Mbale here. They come from neighboring districts. So we profile them and we involve very many stakeholders, the probation office, and they come in and we profile them. And we also liaise with some organizations to at least to take them back home. Because last 2 weeks we had them, and how we did was to call the probation office profile, and even others, they mentioned about where they come from, and even they said they are from others. There's one, I think in Mbale here we had one, then another one was from Soba in Mbale district. So we knew the parents. So I had to task the probation officer to always dig into that kind of parenting of that kind of a child. Because these are children, We cannot blame COVID because COVID was all over the world. I never heard that some children went on the road because there was COVID. Because it has to be the responsibility of a parent bringing up a child. So that's how we handle those street kids. And also security at school, because for economic growth and development, the education is the paramount. Now what kind of education are we giving the children at school and the administration of the school? Do you have countermeasures? Because somebody was talking of children taking drugs and what? When you look at those schools, I have to be open here because most of them, they are concentrated in the city there, almost in the same area, and even there's a lot of hooligans in that school. What is the administration of that school doing? Much as we can put police booth near the school, is it working? Are we training criminals or are we educating children to be better citizens? Because there are even fightings in those schools. So I would urge as stakeholders, let's all play our roles so that we don't just come here and say so and so is not doing this. So when you look at the issue of drug abuse, it's rampant in record, it is highly here. So now we're growing as a city. What do you expect? City comes up to very many good things and bad things. So me personally, I carried before the city came in and directing us to divisions. I was carrying the entire Mbale district. So there's a village called Rogoba, you all know where it is. So I did a lot of operations there. There are a lot of hectares of marijuana plantation in that area. It was covered and it was there. It is common. It is there. It is still up there. So people grow marijuana in hectares. We had over 40 hectares, which is there. Even if I take it now, it is there. But it is not under my jurisdiction. We cut over 14 acres of marijuana down with banned. So tell me, and some of those people who are growing that, they are stakeholders. They are LC1 chairmen. They are even some people who are working. So it's a business. So where do you say that? Where do you give answer that who is supposed to do what? So Madam Chair, I thank you very much for this platform, but we are trying our best, but we need to do it together with you. In our close of the last article in 24, we don't do it alone. We do it with the other organizations and even youth in their community. I thank you so much. Though we have challenges, of course, challenges are always here. We shall keep on going with our work as we push on. Thank you so much.
So the first comments, I know the Madam addressed some of the issues and then Afande, but I will speak generally, really. The issues of service delivery and income generation, yes, it's a challenge. And maybe I want to underscore the fact that the purpose of this project is, can we work together on these challenges that you have mentioned and make Mbale City a role model for other cities to come back here and learn on how best to run the city. That is our purpose. Can we put Mbale on top by addressing the challenges facing the people and making the city work for the people so that these other new cities come to Mbale to benchmark? I remember in one of our conversations when was it called Mujasi? When he was still your LC5 chairman. Yeah? Yes, I used to have long conversations with him in the office. I come from Bushenyi. So he used to challenge me and say, we used to go to Bushenyi to benchmark on this, but now you are lagging behind, we are ahead. I used to come, so we would share notes on what is it that they got to learn in Bushenyi, what is it they are doing better. So we want people to take trips to come to learn from Mbale out of this project. And I know that as a collective, we can do it. So service delivery, income generation, yes. And we need to sit down and see how to raise money And as you were communicating, I marked that one of the strategic meetings that we need to make, we don't want to let this budget process leave us behind. So I don't know where you have reached as a district, but Parliament has just passed the National Framework Paper for the financial budget 2022-2023. So we are going, among the first meetings is to organize a budget meeting or a budget conference from Mbale. We are going to get stakeholders from our side, we get the MPs, we sit down and say, where is the Mbale budget? How do we want it? And maybe we can have 1 or 2 representatives from Ministry of Finance, so that this budget process does not leave us behind, because it is one of the bigger challenges captured, and it covers everybody, including security. In Kampala, normally we have challenges with security response from police. At times you find they have a car, they don't have fuel. They have, at times they don't have a car, they say that's transport. So we need to see. And as you become a city, you are looking now at the population you migrated with from the district status. But more people are going to come. More people are going to come. So as you budget, you need to start the budget in class. Many people are going to come and set up businesses here. So how do you manage? And everything is going to increase, including criminality, including street children. Everything is going to increase. But we need an effective way of managing and responding to the challenges as they arise. Parish development model that is tied to patronage. I know we have had discussions. Those of you watching BC on Wednesdays, we had a 2-hour session with the minister in charge of local government, and we are planning to have another discussion on the rolling out of the parish development model. So on Wednesdays, if you are at home, I know it's the only talk show, and UBC covers every part of Uganda, please try to tune in. There are also discussions on oil. You are not far from Mbale City. You are not very far. And there are spillovers that are going to be in other cities, accruing from the transition of Uganda as a petrol nation. So among our future plans, we need to look at that. How will you, because you are closer now to the Kenyan route. So people who are going to use road transport coming here, going for oil business, are going to be even some of them living here. So how are you planning that going forward? So we shall have these discussions. We are engaging with them at the national level. We have had discussions on Civic Space TV, on the parish model. We shall have more as they plan to roll out, especially since this phase was for recruitment and filling in gaps of parish chiefs and preparation stages. The guidelines are yet to be adopted by Parliament. Parliament is also having discussions. So when we have that budget meeting, maybe then we shall also raise the concerns concerning the parish development model, especially given the fact that it will be the major development vehicle for government for the next 5 years and more, maybe, if it is successful. So on the issue of the middle income status, yes, we shall engage with that. We can work maybe 2-3 years. Why wouldn't Mbale become a middle income status? If you go to the composition of people in shops and markets, I normally take, by the way, a day walking around Mbale. I find people from my area speaking Runyankore. I know Uganda very well myself. So you are already a cosmopolitan city. And within, if you focus issues of development, you have emerging hotel industry, very promising. You have tourist sites within Mbale. There is some river I have always failed to visit because of time. I think I should visit it. Yes, the falls. I need to find time. So, but how are we bringing out these issues and marketing them to the people to drive business and money to Mbale City? That's also part of the issues that we must work on. Mbale elevated to the state but still receives funding of a district. This is a challenge for the other new cities. And it is hoped that in this budget, you will have now an elevated budget fit for the city. But how engaged are you? How far have you gone? And as I've said, our first strategic meeting will be on the budget, so that we get reasonable resources to address the challenges of the city. But we have to bring in now other stakeholders. Lack of sensitization in the rural areas, sub-counties which were now put in words. I used to joke with my mother. We have in our local area now it's a town council. So as people were debating the transition, I said, you are a banana plantation, because she's a farmer, she has a banana plantation and she has a farm for cows, crossbreeds. So I said, now you are going to pay tax for these things. She said, how? I said, no, because you are in the town council. So the matter of being these things are older than you. How do they come to taxing me? I said, no, that's what it means. That you pay money for the administration and the status you are in. So I know the challenge, and that's why I said now that I needed to move at the same pace with the people. Because if you go to tell a local person who has had their banana plantation for 6 decades, and then you say, now I am levying the tax on your banana plantation, you can imagine the reaction, even if you were the one. How would you take it? So you need to put yourselves in the shoes of these people and see how far do you go with sensitization, how do you introduce these taxes, when do you levy them, as you approve them, do you leave a time for sensitization and buy-ins, the bottom-up consultation that is needed, and the mindset change, which is very critical as you develop as a city. And that takes me to the decision. It is now good that the Parliament passed that amendment that you retain part of the revenues that you collect as a city. So now it is up to you to say how much revenue do I collect. Because if you collect nothing, you are a loser. And with that amendment, finance is likely to say, maybe 30% of the budget, you cover it yourself. So if you collect nothing, now what are you going to do? Are we together? If you collect more, you benefit. If you collect less, you are likely to suffer and fail to deliver services to the people. So how do you bridge the gap? Negative feedback on urban taxes, it's bound to happen. There's going to be resistance, and the leadership should prepare for it. The first 2 years, there will be resistance on these taxes. So how do you create mindset change for acceptability? The businesswoman from Mbale Market, I think many issues were raised on the allocation of lockups, with some of them which are still empty. Challenges of electricity and water, which were later handled with a separate account. No sensitization of the members. So I think if we finish the budget conference, I hope you will agree with me that we address market vendors, then people with disabilities, and we keep moving in that line. So first will be budget, which covers now everybody in the room. Second will be market vendors, and then the third one will be people with disabilities. And from there we can move border, you have your issues of security. Many border riders are killed when they are riding, people steal motorcycles. It's going to increase, as I told you, many people are going to migrate to a city, including the positive and negative elements. It's not only the good ones that are going to come. Even the negative ones, the things you see in Kampala, people are being stoned with pavers on the northern bypass. Those problems are going to extend. So how prepared are you? Especially with the contraction of the economy out of lockdown. We have 4% contraction of the economy. And then rising fuel prices, rising cost of food, rising cost of living, rising school fees. Parents were almost going on the strikes, taking the children back to school. I remember any call I would receive, I would say, please, call me after 2 months. Because everybody was struggling with the costs of school. We have children who are biological, those adopted, those from extended families. So everybody, and from Christmas, I don't know how you people were doing, but from Christmas to opening of schools, anybody with the children, even a phone will ring, and you put it here without saying where you call it. Not so. Parents who are in the room, not so. It was a very tough moment. The issue of street children, I think we need to contact other stakeholders. It's good the steps that are being taken. It is a challenge for every state, including those which are established. But once you create a framework for managing it at the beginning, you are better off than those who are doing nothing. So it's good to say we have mapped out, these are our challenges. Then tomorrow, the whole day is dedicated on how do we solve. How do we go about this? Who is the lead agency in this? Who is the lead person in this? So that the next meeting, we get a feedback report. Even as we have no business coming here to just waste your time, we should deliver. So each one of us should deliver so that we have a better city where people can say, let's go and learn from Mbale. Land wrangles, land ownership, land grabbing, it's going to escalate. We came here on a training on land rights with what we call the training of trainers. And maybe in the next meeting we should draw in some of the people we trained from Mbale. So we need to be equipped with the basics, and maybe in our next meeting, basics on how do you deal with the land issues, land wrangles. Now we have passed, Parliament has passed a new amendment to the succession bill, where it is trying to legislate on situations when people die without a will. Who takes what? And briefly, as I share, the surviving spouse takes 20%. If you are married, you share that 20%. The children, the children, all of them, the law has outlawed the issue of illegitimate children, our dear Reverend. Children do not ask to be born. How they are born is never their business, they don't apply. So that law has said this is now no longer a question. Children are what? Children. And I'm glad many churches now baptize them. Before they would not. So there has already been even that, because children, what crime do they commit? Did any of us apply to be born? No. Did we choose our parents? No. Did we discuss whether they are married or not? No. It's you. So I'm glad that Parliament has finally resolved that. So all children get 75%. Wow. Yes. So if they are children still undergoing education and minors, the 20% is retained for education. It's an education fund, and you need to guide the people now, going forward. People should stop quarreling and cutting each other over the property of a person that has died. So the children total is 75%. If they are minors or anybody below 25 still doing education, 20% of that is reserved as an education fund. A hair, 1%. Additional to the sharing with other children. Normally, some heirs have been grabbing property and freezing other children. I am the heir. What are you talking? Are we clear? The heir is what? 1%. If there is any other dependent of the spouse, 1, that's it. Now we have a law that is very clear. Please guide the people. Yes. Started Islamic banking. Yeah, wait, I'm coming. I've said I've started in 3 aspects.
Sharia.
Yes, Sharia law, we started it. We teach it at Islamic University. No, I'm coming. So I think I'm the best person to explain. One, I am not a Muslim, also my name covers all religions.
Yes.
I have studied. You are details, including Islamic banking, including Sharia law, Mohammedan marriages, I have studied. So, Uganda as a secular state, it means it does not follow any religion. Are we together? Even the Bible has its teachings on family. Even the Quran has its own regime on family. But Uganda as a country does not follow any religion. It is governed by laws. How are these laws made? Through the constitution, acts of parliament, and maybe by laws at the district, which must be in conformity with the constitution. The same Muslim comments came during the marriage and divorce bill debate, and the bill collapsed, unfortunately, because it was not against anybody. That's why I'm saying unfortunately. It was meant for the well-being of Ugandans. So when Parliament is making laws, unless it is a specific law, like you say, we have the Banking Institutions Act, a specific law for financial institutions. So unless it is a specific law, they debate for every Ugandan. So the Committee of Parliament noted that Muslims have their own ways of managing. They took note. But the Quran is not law in Uganda. That one I want to repeat. It is not law in Uganda. Even the Bible is not law in Uganda. That's why you say that even if the Bible says do not murder, do not commit adultery, still we go to the penal code and legislate for murder, legislate for adultery and other things. And later, of course, I know the Reverend might not agree, but later adultery has been outlawed by the Constitution. That when 2 consenting adults are doing something, don't tell us about the what? The Bible. So the same way, when you fail now for Muslims, if you want your property to be administered for now, in accordance with the Quran, please make a will. If you don't, and unfortunately you die before a specific law for Muslims is made, the government will come in through Administrator General and administer your property in accordance with this law I have said. Are we together? Yes. That's the position. So the fate of street children, I know we have, and I looked at this comment together with the escalating teenage pregnancies. I forgot to look at the statistics in Mbale, but the minimum teenage pregnancies over lockdown as per end of 2021, the minimum is 2,300 teenage pregnancies. In Kampala, it is 8,000 documented teenage pregnancies. In Wakiso, it is 10,000 plus. Mukono is the 3rd highest. So we have a crisis. I have been, we have a group where we have a Vandeka and other senior police officers. We have been fighting to say how many arrests have been made, because the total nationwide is about 643 teenage pregnancies. Who defiled them? How many arrests do we have? So we have been saying police must produce a report. How many people have you arrested for defilement? Who has made these children pregnant? That is the first crisis. And what do we do to strongly punish the defilers to deter the practice? Then it comes to the issue of schools. And then maybe for disclosure purposes, I will mention that my children, I myself went to a Nyanj Girls School. I'm sure many of you have heard about it. My children go to King's College, Budo, the most strict government school. So I was asking if a girl was pregnant in Budo, you can't even go beyond the gate. But the government has released the policy that these children must go back to school. There was backlash from the church leader saying it's promoting morality, and we said, look, morality should be preventative. And I'm a born-again Christian. I want to say my claim so that I'm not, because I know my reverend is not going to agree with my submission. When I take to this platform, I am speaking for Uganda. I am not speaking the moralistic teaching of the churches. But remember, I am what? A born again. So don't say this one is what, bringing what. No. There is the church, there is the law. And the two are different, including the Quran. We are not going to mix issues. Government is what? Government. So government has passed a decision that pregnant and teenage mothers should go back to school. But how is this being done by the schools? In Mbale, where I went, the church founded school by Mbale Diocese. You cannot spend a night in school when you are pregnant. You cannot. Are we together? In Budo, I see you, a girl and a boy. It is a mixed school. You go. It is under the leadership of Mbale Diocese. You go. Anything, a crisis, what the bishop is there of Mbale Diocese. You go. So how are we integrating these girls back in school? UNFPA has done the United Nations population. They are a special branch for population control and sexual reproductive health, has done a study that if we do not take care of these girls, as a country, we are going to be losing 640 million every year, taking care of babies who have become mothers and their children because they have no source of income. Their children have a higher rate of becoming street children and drug abusers and criminals because they have 1% chance of attaining education. So as we deal with the issue of children, I want us to categorize it into two sections. Street children, teenage mothers, and teenage pregnancies. Because I don't know, do you think this is a problem we should address? Yes. I will get statistics from back. So the church came up, and the first I think was a bishop in Mukono. Then the Voice of America called me and said, now what do you make of the church comments? I said, please, more laws are supposed to be preventative. If you say sex before marriage is a sin, as a church, make sure people do not engage in premarital sex. But once it has happened, know that your duty has ended and has failed, and these are human beings you must do what? Take care of. Are we together? Yes. Because you preached morals, did they work or not? They have not worked, and we have people to deal with. Are we together? Dear Reverend, you will forgive us, please. And I'm sure we agree that morals are preventative. Once a problem has happened, you must address it as it has emerged. How best can we make every stakeholder to resolve the issues of insecurity? I've said tomorrow is a planning resolution session. How do we address this? Afande has told us his challenges. As leaders, you have a role to play to make sure your state is secure. Once it emerges that there is rising criminality in Mbale, even people who wanted to move here and invest will not come. Even some of the business people will run away from me. Because if I have my, for example, warehouse for wholesale selling, and it's vandalized, you think that I will go to the bank to borrow money and again put it in a risky area? If you are the one, can you? So to solve the issue of income generation, security is number one. And security is a stakeholder issue. It is not a police or whatever issue. Are we together? Surveying the land and the costs, it is a very big challenge. I'm telling you, even if somebody came to my home and said, hey, we want to resurvey your land, because I might say, please go to hell. Because I have my title. Are we together? So that shows you the level of rejection. Even you, do you think this is something you would prioritize in your expenses? Would you? So you need to know what the people are facing with. Out of COVID, people have started working. Even this the hotel is at most maybe have capacity. In Kampala, you got supermarkets which used to be congested in the evenings. You find your two shoppers. People don't have money. So as you introduce some of these things, some of them you need also to stagger them as a leadership and first enable your people to recover from the impact of COVID, depending on the urgency. Are we together? For acceptability, if I'm here looking for supper for my family, you come to tell me that I need to survey my land. Would you pay that money? Yeah, issues of cleanliness, I think they have been talked about with even a response from the leadership, the tax park, sewage system. We are going to sit and draw a roadmap. And we should use it even to gauge ourselves, either as failures or successes. We are not just here to say we are pointing fingers. No, let's make a plan as a multi-stakeholder leadership group. We allocate the responsibilities, we rob them, we concentrate, we see what we can achieve. Are we together? Of course, that goes into drug abuse. We need to fight it collectively, including sitting with these children, seeing those that we can rehabilitate. We need a rehabilitation program with other stakeholders that work with children. Because if you say children are sniffing fuel, I know there is the estimate of school dropouts have been put at 4.5 million nationally. Children who are unable to return to school after COVID lockdown of 2 years. So we need to sit and say out of those 4.5 million, how many are likely to be in Mbale? Because right now we don't have the data. But I'm showing you the national data. 4.5 million dropouts out of COVID lockdown. Out of those, how many are likely to be in Mbale City? And how do we address that? How many can we salvage and take back to school, including vocational institutions? Are we together? So that will be our campaign. Are we consulting people? Of course, it came back, it's repeated, and I think I've answered it. Garbage collection, they say we are going to draw our own roadmap. It is granted before planning, I agree. But and you need to tell people that the decision of whether Mbale is stay or not is no longer debatable, and it cannot be reversed. Yeah, it is no longer debatable, and it is irreversible. We are a city. The challenge now is how do we move forward? Yeah, the issue of market leadership, as I said, some of these issues need specific constituency meetings, and we shall have that meeting with the market vendors and other stakeholders. PWDs, yes, specific meeting, also to see how to empower, rehabilitate, and resettle some of them, because some of them even face rejection right from their homes. So we need to have a specific meeting with them. And these security markets will be resolved. You will need is specific attendance. Will be resolved in that special market vendors meeting, but also out of the decisions that we shall take tomorrow. So I think that in brief answers the comments. There's a comment on schools and how they send children, the hours they use. Because you wonder, if a school is to send children for school fees, why don't you give them a cheat in the evening? And say tomorrow, a cheat to the parent and say tomorrow you are not attending school. Why do you have to send them at busy hours? And there we need a secretary for education in the city. Why do you have to send them at 10, 11, say go back for school fees? Why don't you make a cheat and give it to them in the evening so that tomorrow don't come to school without fees? I mean, what is rocket science there? Other schools drop these children back home. Because the dangers, and we hope the Secretary of Education will write a memo to the schools. We are not saying don't stop, but when do you do it? Then if you need to tell children tomorrow don't come, give this to your parents or come with them. That's what other schools do, and it is very simple. Are we together? So those are some of the quick achievements we can use and solve these problems facing the people. Children and detention facilities, we shall address that. Allocate response, people concerned with traffic. I think these are some of the, we shall take concrete decisions tomorrow, but in my view, as I listened to all your issues, I see they are workable. It's only a matter of time to achieve them. There are those that we shall classify as short term, medium term, and then long term, and we continue planning and working on them. As I tell you from our point of view as an organization, we want people to move to Mbale and say, what is the magic in Mbale? That is what we want to see. Are we together? Maybe as I conclude, I need to mention that this particular intervention is supported by Voice Oxfam. For the 2 years pilot, we are working with Voice Oxfam program, and Oxfam stands globally for fighting inequality. That includes reducing the gap between the rich and the poor, increasing household incomes. They also fight for climate justice, issues of environmental degradation. I didn't see them coming out. But as you expand as a city, we need to make sure that our environment is properly preserved. So we shall also look at that thematic area. Issues of hunger in families. Many people are sleeping hungry as we talk, and I'm sure you are aware. The survey done by Private Sector Foundation states that 75% of businesses are not likely to reopen after COVID. Some are talking on bank loans that were not staggered during COVID. Some have eaten their savings. Some have eaten their stock. Are we together? I'm sure you know these challenges. So if you have this situation in Mbale, and we shall estimate our local position as we emerge from COVID, then if you levy taxes, who is going to pay them? Or what interventions can you play at a city level to make sure people have incomes and you also have taxable income? Because taxable income should be extra in people's pockets after consumption. But once people don't have consumption income, once people do not have purchasing power, you have no taxable income, whether you levy taxes or not. Are we together? So we need to make sure that people were driven out of COVID are considered. Those that have lost breadwinners, you might not have money, but you see the leadership is about ideas and counseling. It is not just about handouts.